Hey everybody. So I thought I'd just make a quick video showing if you do want to draw a floor plan in SketchUp, how to go about doing it. So the first thing I would do is go to the requirement floor or for PowerPoint that I made. So basically, if you go to the further resources, if you have a Windows, you should be able to download SketchUp Make. If you're on Mac, you may have to try the SketchUp app, which is this one's actually in your web browser. So it shouldn't. This one is very simple to. There is no download. It's not really my favorite though. If I were you, I would just download. I would go here and scroll down to SketchUp Make, and if you have Windows, just do this. Click there, and then you'll save this file and open it when you download it. And so that's should work pretty smoothly. The reason why I like that one more is because it gives you a program that's actually on your computer and you don't need to be connected to the internet or anything else, and there's some more features that I think are easier. So basically when you start with the model, you'll have something kind of like this. And so if you click on the top view, this will obviously take you to the top view, and this is where you'll do most of your drawing. And I think you can also go to view. Like if you don't have that button there, I think you can go to. That's a good question, actually. I have to figure it. Oh, camera. Okay, camera. Then standard views, top. So that's if you don't. You may not have this button here. These buttons. It may be different than what mine is. Okay, so assuming we have this, I kind of did this in class, but basically I'm going to just do it again real quick. So you'll input your dimensions, like we'll just say 10 feet by 15 feet by 10 feet by 15. And what I did is I just used the pencil. So this just draws a bunch of lines. And then this erases lines, and the arc, it makes arcs. And then this makes shapes, but you probably won't need this. So basically these three tools, really these two are your most used. So the first step is when we do the outline of the room, this could be what you measured, and then we'll go here to offset. And then we're just going to offset this. We'll give it we'll say maybe your wall is 10 inches thick, so I'll type it down here, but that's where you type it, just type 10 inches. So that makes your wall. And then we'll go back to the pencil, and the first thing, you can just start with doing your door. So, and I mean, obviously you should measure this, because I guess I'll go back, because really, hopefully you measured your door, and you can enter that dimension. This is what your door is. So if it's 3 feet, then the actual door is also 3 feet. And then you'll press the arc button, and you'll just click these two dots, and you'll make a nice little arc. And then you'll click the eraser, and you want to erase these lines right here. So you can see that's pretty simple. Then this kind of blue shade in the middle, you probably don't want that. So you can just click on it and then right click and say erase. And so that's pretty simple for that. If you want to be fancy, if you have a lot of doors or a lot of windows, a quick way to make it faster on yourself is just to highlight these two pieces and then right click and say make group. So now if you copy this, so if you do Control C, Control V, you can have a bunch of doors. You don't have to draw them every single time. So that'll save you some time if you need it. And then from here, you can just draw a window, and obviously you should measure that. So if you click there, you could type in, I don't know, 4 feet if that's your window, and that's where the 4 feet is. You can double check it down here, 4 feet. And then go to for a window, you would really just, at the minimum, you should put a middle line. But if you wanted to, you could also do some kind of mullion like this. Like on a computer, it's pretty simple to add this kind of detail. And so Like in this case, this is where you might want to rotate it, or actually the scale. So if you just click this, you type in -1, enter, that'll mirror it. So you can just move it right here. And by the way, move is right here. Move, rotate, scale, offset. Then you won't use this any. But then you can just kind of erase that, and there's your window. So if you wanted to, you could actually highlight these things and just say, make a group. So now if you Control C, Control V, you have another window. Easy. And yeah, so that's a window. And then the next thing you would probably want to draw is something like a bed. It's just, just using your pencil tool, and you could draw some pillows and that kind of thing. So that's clearly a bed. Then if you want to add a label, you can go to this text tool and just click on that, and then just type in bed and click away, and there, it's a bed. You don't need to label doors or windows. It's pretty obvious what those are. So that part's good. Oh yeah, and then dimensions. So if you go to tools and dimensions, you can easily just get like the interior dimensions, and looks good to me. So that's good. And I'm not really sure. You may, if I would probably maybe, I don't know, it's up to you. Maybe it's kind of nice having this color on the outside walls, but I think I'd probably leave the furniture just white. It makes it a little bit less distracting. And maybe you have like a big counter here or something too. So erase that. So you would just label this as counter, or I don't know, drawer. That looks good. Yep. So that's pretty good for that part. Then to make a title block, one way to do it is just to, and if you hold Shift, you'll just draw a straight line. See how that works? I'm holding Shift and then just moving my mouse, and I can line it up with that. So if you want to do it, a title block like this is a good way of doing it, I think. And obviously I didn't measure this at all, so it's sort of sloppy, but it's just to show you how to do it. You could go to the text tool and just say like your name and click away. And then if you want to, you need to make sure there's an arrow, because if there's not, when you do this, the text will move. So the easiest thing to do is just say arrow, none. You right click again, say leader, hidden. And then that fixes it. And the important part is, if this looks like a pretty good view, we just want to make sure we're on the top view, and so that's good. And then what I would do is, to make it easier on yourself, just go to view, animation, add scene, and then just say create scene. So what I just did there is, so if I do like this and it's like, how do I get back there? All you gotta do is just click here and it'll take you right back to where you were. So definitely this is a good thing. So your name, and then today's date, and then you could give it things like your room name, and then the scale too. So the scale is kind of a little bit tricky on here, because I want to make sure we get the right scale. Because it's like one thing, what you could do is just do export 2D graphic and then save it right here. And so when you go to downloads, this is what it just did. But unfortunately, this is not really to a scale. So to get around that, I think the best thing is to do print. And so from that, you just want to make sure it says Adobe PDF. That's fine. And then I think I'm trying to remember how to do this. Might actually be print setup. Okay, so it looks like model extents. So I'm just gonna say this is like it fits on an 11 by or an 8.5 by 11. This looks like there is a scale, but I'm not sure I trust that. We'll see what happens, I guess. That's really bad. Okay, so this is the thing that we need to remember too is when you go to camera, you need to make sure you press parallel projection. So basically what that means is all your lines are now flat. So once that is the case, then we can update the scene. We really should have done that first, but that's fine. And now when we go to File, Print, Adobe PDF, and then we can actually change the scale. So this is where you would say in the printout 1 inch equals how many feet in SketchUp. So in SketchUp you probably want that to be let's see, well, a good one that I think maybe 0.25, so a 1/4 inch equals 1 foot in SketchUp. We'll try to see what happens with that. And then we'll just do, well, that didn't work at all. 0.25 in SketchUp equals 1 foot. Got it. And so basically this is saying this is how it's going to fit on a piece of paper. So it seems kind of small, so maybe we can even do 0.5. No, actually we can't. Let's do that. See what that does. And we'll say okay. And we'll print it as test. Okay, so right now this is at that scale that we entered, so a 1/4 inch would equal a foot. It's very small though, so we're gonna see if, I think we're just gonna make it a 1/2 inch equals 1 foot in SketchUp. It'll make our width a little bit long and our height, but I think that that's fine. And we'll press print and see what this produces. Okay, so that didn't work very well. Let's keep. Getting closer. Okay, so an important thing we need to do is when we're selected on scene 1, we need to make sure probably we're on perspective. So if you go to camera, parallel projection, and then you right click on this and say update. So what that means is for parallel projection, all of our lines are now straight. And so we really should have done that first, but it'll help us print. So for the scale, I'm going to try to make it 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. That'll be my goal. And so if we go to File and then Print, Adobe PDF is what we'll want, and we'll want to go to Properties and Layout. We'll want to make sure that's on Landscape, and everything else I think should be fine. Just OK. And then just do the current view, that's fine. So for this is kind of the tricky part. You really just want to make sure, use model extents, you want to make sure that's checked. And then in the printout, do 0.25 inches, so a quarter inch equals 1 foot in SketchUp. And I think we'll leave this unchecked and we'll see what happens. Print quality, we could probably make that standard. That's probably fine. And then we'll just name it test 6. Okay, and then, so basically, if you were to print this out off of your printer in an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, then when you print this, it would be to the right scale, to a quarter inch equals 1 foot. It's kind of small, but the way to get around that would be if we go to print, because I think if we do, well, what we would have to do is get the calculator. So a quarter inch equals a foot and then a half inch. So the other option is we could do 3/8 of an inch. So, which the decimal for that is 0.375. 0.375. Because we could try that and see, because I know that 0.5, so that makes the model too big. Because watch, if we do that, let's say test 7, and so this makes the thing too big for that piece of paper, which is what we're trying to achieve. So I think if we do 3/8 of an inch equals 1 foot, we go to print, and then that number was 0.375, so we enter 0.375 inches equals 1 foot, and then press OK, and then this is good. Yeah, so this fits good, and it's a little bit bigger, so that helps, and this looks pretty good to me. So just have something like this. Obviously you'd probably want to just make sure things look nice and tidy, and maybe put some more furniture in and labels. But this is the gist of what requirement 4 is about. And just make sure you save this, and that's about it.